Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today our guest is a talented actor known for his dynamic presence on screen. You've seen him in acclaimed TV series and films like All American, Unstable, House of Payne, 911, Criminal Minds, and NCIS Los Angeles. He's currently starring as District Attorney Grayson Valwell in the new Prime Video series Countdown, and has recently appeared as Frederick on Tyler Perry's House of Payne. We have with us today none other than the amazing Merrick Mccartha. Merrick, thank you so much for joining again.
Hey man, I think I'm going to have you be my new pitch man. That was smooth. That was better than I said about myself. Thank you. Yes, happy to be back, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I try my best to give flowers where they're earned and they're deserved. And you've had quite a career, and it's great to see that you're still flourishing for sure.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. And for you too, I mean, the Black Strip has been flourishing as well. I'm very proud of what you're doing, all the direction you're going. It is quite impressive, and I'm really happy that we've been in touch with each other and supporting each other through these last years. And it's good to see you again.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And it's probably, what has it been? Maybe a little more than a year since we did our last interview.
Yeah,
It
I,
might have
I'm
been somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
it's
year or so ago, I think. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
And you're
Time is
blowing up
flying,
since
man.
then. You got all kinds of people in here. You're writing and producing. You having film festival stuff going. I'm like, man, this my man is on it.
Yeah, man. It's nonstop, man. I gotta see these things through, and
Yeah,
hopefully, when all is said and done, I land on a place to where I can reach back and help as many people as possible, and that I've also helped people along the way in the process. Um, and that's what it's all about, is help lifting each other up, man, and giving exposure and flowers to everybody, and letting the world know, um, you know, who's doing what in this business, because a lot of us don't know. So
yeah, exactly. You update me on several things, so I appreciate you very much.
yeah, absolutely, man. So I know last it's been a while since we've talked, and I always start off with a very simple question, but briefly, if you could just let the world know who Merrick McCartha is.
Uh, Black man from Detroit, grew up in a blue collar household, two very proud black parents. They raised me to have an open mind about lots of things and to get out in the world, and go for it. I mean, they instilled in me a lot of values, dedication, loyalty, having principles about myself, things I will and will not do. I haven't always
Mhm.
followed them, but I know I do have
Right.
that learning from them. But happy to say that I've heeded their words and gone out and tried things that not many people try as far as going for success in my life and taking the risk. You know,
Yeah.
they say no risk, no reward. In this case, it's like it's not just risk. It's like you have to really just find the right way to prepare for what you want and
Mhm.
be able to realize that there are going to be setbacks. So I'm happy to say I'm the person that's walked a long journey to get to where I am. Lots of tough times,
Right.
but I'm still loving the journey that I'm on, and that's really what's been mattering for me, the journey. And so I'm proud to say
Right.
that I'm here. I'm here
Yeah.
with you, and we're both in living in success today, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah. Definitely a long journey, but it's in some cases it's humbling to be on that long road, and it's rewarding in the end when things work out your way, and you're able to land those roles, and you have multiple accomplishments that you've done. You can look back on your legacy and your career. That long road doesn't seem quite as long. It seems more, like you said, more of a journey, and more of, it's better to live it that way instead of easily just handed over to you, I think.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah.
Or
So,
having it dropped on you. People that I feel I really feel for people that have it, they're dropped in it. People do one movie and suddenly boom, they're in the thick of everything. They're Marvel movies and everything else. Like wow,
yeah,
your success is wonderful, but I'm hoping I can only hope they can appreciate where they are because people have gone through a journey, and I wonder um, what's different for them because when I have success in my career,
Mhm.
I appreciate it in a way that is from the perspective of the journey that I took to get there. You know, it was
Right.
a long journey, lots of hard times, lots of work, lots of study, lots of risk taking, and just digging deep within myself to get there, and
Mhm.
to travel that way and make it. It's like, yeah, and I can look back and say, yeah, these all these things led to where I am. But if you just dropped in there, yes, I wonder how different is that for you? Are you appreciative of it as much? You know, can you really can you really savor it as well? You know, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know if you can, and I'm not trying to speak for anybody, but I would probably think that it's overwhelming, and it's not a gradual thing to where it's you're just bombarded with all of this attention. You might be getting role after role, but you really don't have the ability to take the time and smell the flowers, or see what you're actually accomplishing or what you're actually doing. And sometimes you can also fizzle out quickly, just as fast as you've been dropped into it, you can fizzle out. So it's good to have that long, steady pace of a career, in my opinion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. I find that very interesting too because I've been passionate about acting for quite a while. It is an art for me as much as um, a an experience where um, I bring things out about myself and it builds my spiritual growth. There's a word
Right.
for it that I can't think of right now. But I find it interesting that people that I'm not. Maybe they walked the journey, or there was a short journey, or they were plopped into it, but they're at that height in the acting world. And they're like, nah, I want to be in a band, or, I want to go and I want to raise a farm in Montana. It's like, hey, not downing that, but
Right.
I thought this is what you. And it's like, maybe it's a luxury to have that idea that I'm so good at this, I can have all this, but I want to go and do music, or I want to go and raise a farm, or I want to go and not be an actor anymore because I'm burned out from acting. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I don't see myself ever finding myself in that position. But um, kudos to them if they can, they have the versatility where they're like, I've conquered acting in a very short time. Now I'm going to move on to this thing because that's what I want to do. Cool.
No, that's
You
very, listen, that's very real. Sometimes they do get burnt out, but then I think sometimes it's also, for some, it might also not be what it's cracked up to be. And so they decide,
Mm,
they once they finally get to it, they realize, oh, this isn't what I wanted at all.
mhm,
And they remove themselves that way, or maybe it's just so overwhelming and so overbearing that they can't handle it. And I'm not speaking for everybody. Obviously, there's a lot of people who love and have passion for it, and stick with it through and through all of the ups and all of the downs, whether it's coming at you fast or if it's a slow pace. um, I, I I think you just have to have the mindset, the thick skin, and the wherewithal to be able to navigate and know how to move and have the right people around you. Obviously,
mhm. So
I think
yourself
that's
now,
important.
since and before we talked, and since then, you have talked to many people, up and comings, established people,
Yeah.
the gambit. Um, do you find similarities between, say, actors and writers or directors? And what do you find the similarities with those success struggles that people have when they get to that success point? Are you seeing that same similarity?
Yes, well, one success, I mean, not success. One thing that I find, no matter if you're a writer, actor, director, and it doesn't matter what stage you are in your career. Obviously, there are some people who they've been in this field for 20 plus years, and so they have a certain foundation already set for them. They know all of the ins and outs of their job and their role. But then you have some where they've had a bunch of success. They've been on show after show after show, but they're also still trying to figure it out. It's
Mm,
the in between work is really the hard part for them, um,
mm,
and not having that consistency. I think, um,
mm,
and that falls a lot on a lot of people that I talk to. But of course, obviously, you have some of the legacy acts where they have had a long-standing 20 years, 30 years in the game, and they're holding strong, and they have 4 or 5 projects coming down the pike. Whereas there's some where you might only have 1 or 2 projects a year, or maybe a handful or something like that. So it's just
Hmm.
a matter of trying to find ways to keep yourself busy. Some people are, going back to theater, so that way
Hmm.
they stay strong within their acting and their craft. Some writers in between jobs, they're writing their own projects. And
Hmm.
then as far as filmmakers are concerned, if they're not working on a short or a film or a series, then they could also be working on like music videos or commercials or uh, things of that nature, or maybe even working alongside somebody else on with their project.
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
so it's just a matter of, I think it's just a matter of finding what suits you and what can help keep you afloat in this business, because I know it's tough, I know it's not easy, and I know there's a lot going on also in LA. You guys are still recovering from the fires, um, and everything else is going on, the strikes as well. So I know people in Hollywood are working, but it's not everybody. you know so
it's
I
not
can
every.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I hear it's supposed to start coming back. We did get a big initiative with our governor here in California about film production, so we'll see. I've heard
Mm.
from people, on the rep side that are like, yeah, we're seeing stuff really kind of pick up real quick now in July,
Right.
so we'll see how this
Right.
goes.
I think
But yeah, yes.
I was just going to say real quick, I think there were a lot of folks who were actively waiting and hoping that things were going to work itself out in Las Vegas. I heard that there was a big push to bring the film community to Las Vegas and make that a huge entertainment space. But for whatever reason, I don't remember what the bill number was called or what it was called that they were voting on, but it didn't get passed. And so
Oh wow.
that,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was devastating
Hmm.
to a lot of folks in Las Vegas. But I know people, bounce back and forth between California and Vegas as well. So I don't know if were aware of that
Not
initiative.
really. It seems like all over the country, I'm seeing that scenario where
Yeah,
people have this big hope for this one city or state, and it's like falls through, or it's hot for a minute, then it dries up. People are
right.
trying to figure out what to do next. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think one, well, people say it's not, but I still say Atlanta's holding strong. I could be, people may know more than me, but from what I've seen of it, it's like Atlanta's like the one spot that's kind of holding its own, and you
mhm.
know, even though
Yeah.
they've
I
had
would
some.
say Atlanta is definitely like the one of, if not the main mecca for independent film, black film, or even TV,
Mhm.
as well as reality series as well. Unscripted programming too. But like to your point, Texas is popping up. Texas had this a similar initiative to Vegas, and then theirs got passed. And then
Mm.
Shreveport, Louisiana, that's being front run by 50 Cent, for all the G
Okay.
Unit stuff and Power and all
Mm.
of that. And so you do have these hot spots and these pockets that are developing. And then Robert De Niro has a full-fledged production studio. It's like massive. I want to say it's in New Jersey.
Mm.
And it's the first one that is, they built it vertical opposed to horizontal. So each studio space is, different levels in the facility.
Really?
And I think that, I don't know if they did a grand opening yet, but I want to say it's coming if it hasn't happened.
Okay.
But yeah, they're actively building these hubs and hotspots where you don't necessarily have to rely on Hollywood anymore. You can actively go or live wherever you live and um, still have a career. So
Yeah.
I would definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm sure, obviously, California is not going anywhere, but um, it's starting to expand, I would say.
Hmm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, the markets are expanding and growing out there for sure. So
Yeah.
I do, I have a rep in Atlanta. I have a rep in Detroit, where I'm from. So
Nice.
I would love, I'd love to have someone in Texas or New Mexico or Louisiana as well. But we'll see, we'll see. For what I'm hearing about this is there have these pockets, these studios, these production companies that are building up, but they casting will still come to New York or LA for some of the bigger roles.
Right.
Um, and then any of the the guest star supporting actors they will go locally with, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with financing. They want to have a big name out of LA to get
Mhm.
money or get support or whatever. But
Right.
so there's still some, but again, it's not. How many actors are in that big name category to where they can take advantage of that? Because most of us are all in this supporting character. We want to keep working, and so yeah, having representation in these areas is a great thing. I think so. You're right about that.
Yeah. I would agree that, they definitely do the casting in the major areas, and then they seek, all the supporting roles and extras and whatnot locally. But then
Mhm.
not only that, they'll also have you, you're still doing self-tapes and virtual auditions. It's not a whole lot of in person still. At least to my knowledge. And a lot of people are saying that, they still submit self-tapes and whatnot. But yeah, it's I don't know how you guys navigate and and do it, but you do it well, and you do it with a smile on your face. And it's great to see when you hear or you read, that new projects are getting picked up, and then people that you now that for me, people that I now know, are getting picked up on these projects, or I'm getting a chance to know them. It's That's cool from my standpoint, but I can
Mhm.
imagine, what you all go through when it comes to, landing roles and staying active in
Yeah.
within the acting community, or as a writer, as a director, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That made me think of for some reason. Are we able to talk about the residents real quick? Is that something that you're
yeah, sure.
contracted
Yeah,
to do?
we can talk about anything. Yeah,
So the residents canceled one
I
season.
know. I
The
know.
most, I would argue, probably the most in the top five at least watched shows this year on Netflix by far.
Yeah,
Canceled, and so the
and Shondaland.
yeah, and China. And the reason I'm hearing is that it was that it boiled down to it was the expense of it. It was like it was too expensive, even though it got a ton of views. It was too expensive, and I'm like, it's Shondaland. I mean, y'all making Bridgerton, right? How many seasons of that? That's not cheap. Bridgerton ain't cheap. So why is this?
Yeah,
It just I'm really confused with the Netflix. It's very
their
suspicious to
decision
me. Is
making.
what I'm trying
Yeah,
to get to.
it doesn't make
What's
sense
your
to
take
me
on
either. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either, and I don't know how they have their budgeting structure and what pot goes to what. There's a lot of things with Netflix I feel like don't need to be on Netflix, or don't need to have that long lasting effect on Netflix. What if they're paying for the licensing or whatever. But
this?
yeah, this is a show that you would have thought would have stuck around, at least for 3, 4, 5 seasons before they got rid of it, or before, at least let it, do its full run, and
Hmm.
to completion. And but to your point, if it was too expensive, the immediate thought that comes to my mind would probably be the cast cost too much, because
Yeah.
there are a lot of big name stars on that show. And I can just imagine, how much that costs. You got Uzo, you have Giancarlo, you have there's a lot of well-known names on there. So I can imagine how much that costs. But on the flip side, you have something, I mean, obviously Squid Game is their most popular, most watched series on the platform. But then you
Yeah.
you have all of these other you have all these other shows and things that are just like, okay, well, where did this come from? And why did Netflix accept this? And there's a lot of things you can watch on there and you be like, this isn't that great.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
I guess they have a target they're going for that is not widely known because you think they want to have just good quality. I mean, no,
Yeah,
everybody can't be Apple and put out just quality after quality after quality, and don't really
yeah,
don't seem to care if the viewers. They're like, we're just putting out quality stuff. But Netflix been around for a while. They got plenty of money. I don't know
yeah.
why. I was just thrown by that whole debacle, as I call it. But yeah, man,
Well, I
I
will
was one.
say, yeah, I will say from Apple's standpoint, even though, like you said, everything on there is quality. I did read that they're literally bleeding money.
Really,
I think they're still not necessarily profitable on the
really.
TV and films or in the streaming space, um,
Hmm.
e- especially with as many films and TV shows that they pour into. But I think it's also their strategy to eventually corner the market, and like what they're doing is doing the 2 week theater run, and then you can watch it on Apple TV, that type of deal. Especially with F1,
Hmm.
that's now in theaters. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think that they're playing the long game and in hopes that eventually some of these platforms will fizzle out or compile themselves into another platform, but they would be one of the major players like a Netflix, and where we would actively want to go and see either the movie in theaters or see it on their platform, and their content is award winning, so I think that's what they're I think that's where they're leaning towards, and they're playing that long game. They did the same thing with the
Yeah.
cell phone. They played the long game
Yeah.
for such a long time until they became the
Yeah.
dominant force, and
Yeah.
and so now obviously they're starting to plateau a little bit, but everybody knows who Apple is. Everybody has an iPhone, so I think
Right.
that's what they're doing
Exactly.
is playing the
My
long
wife
game.
and I sitting around, we think of trying to watch something. We always think, let's see what's good on Apple because Apple always has quality. We'll check
Yeah,
it out. Well, that's one of our first go-tos. So what's up with Apple? Because they always have quality stuff. And
yeah,
perhaps that's what, like you're saying, that's their long game plan is people realize they want quality stuff, a reliable quality streaming network they can go to, and that's who they want to
right.
be, which is, and hopefully it's profitable for them, but I feel like it should be,
Yeah,
you
and they
know.
have the money to do so. So
Yeah.
like they're one of the first $1 trillion businesses.
Oh,
you
really?
know,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to say they just made it to $1 trillion, or they're close if they haven't hit $1 trillion yet. But yeah, they're not running out of money anytime soon, even though
Okay.
they are
Yeah.
bleeding money. Yeah,
Yeah, but they got it. They got it. Though. It's like, hey, we believe it. We got it. They got deep
right.
pockets, as they say.
Yeah. So, but let's talk a little bit about your new role. You're on a brand new show called Countdown on Amazon Prime. Um,
Yes.
you play a character named D.A. Grayson Valwell. What initially drew you to the role of D.A. Grayson Valwell, and how did you first interpret the character on the page?
Um, I got the script for the audition for this, and it's right in my wheelhouse. It's an attorney. He's got some complexities. Um, he's clever, smart, and I would be on the show multiple episodes. That always hooks me in these. That'll hook me in
Good.
pretty good usually. Um, and so I worked. I worked. I looked at this guy. I took from um, my own personality, but also um, my experience with politicians, my knowledge of politicians growing up in Detroit, in the Midwest. A lot of politicians, Chicago, Detroit, Michigan, all that. Politicians get a little slimy, a little crooked, or a little just
That's everywhere,
fast
man.
and loose, fast and loose. So I want to bring some of that into it, like the guy that can be like really kind of smooth and kind of manipulate people in a way, and that's kind of where I want to go. And that was a great experience because that was a tape, and then they brought me in person for the callback. So they had me go to the
Right.
studio and
Yeah.
I went to the room, and the casting was there, and Derek, the showrunner, was there, as well as Jonathan Brown, who's the executive producer slash director.
Mm,
Um, and I was ready. It was one of those moments like we was talking about where you work hard for years and you get to the point. It was a culmination of the
Yeah.
training, the experience, and just pulling it all together at that moment. Coming fully ready, and it was one of my proudest moments. Whether I got it or not, I knew I was proud of what I did in the room. They
Right.
asked. I came in with what I had did on the tape. They asked me to do it differently
Hmm.
than what I did for reasons that were had nothing to do with whether or not they liked what I did. It was like they had something else in mind, so they asked me to try a little differently on certain things. And like I said, through the training, I was like, cool, boom, did it.
Right. Just like that.
Flawless,
Yeah.
yeah, flawless deliveries each time. And I left. They were smiling, I was smiling. I left, had it, went and I ended up going on a trip with my wife to visit our kids in Milwaukee, and we were out
Hmm.
having breakfast, and I got the call from my agent saying you booked this part, and that was like, yeah, this
Yeah.
right here, this moments. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a it's been a magical experience with this production.
Mhm.
Um, I have friends that have known I can act for a while, and it's a compliment when they email me or text me and say, "Man, I hate you in the show. You're so good," because they're hating the character, and I'm not even sure why. And it's interesting because I am not a slimy. I never approach this character as a slimy, sleazy guy. I have, as D.A. Volwell, good intentions that I feel I'm going for, um,
Right.
and whatever the script says, I'm like, I have a good intention for this. And it's interesting
Right.
because I've always studied that people that play villains or murderers or
Yeah.
killers, the
Yeah.
best actors that have the best performance are the ones that make it like what they're doing for them is something that is good, and that's how they come
Absolutely.
off so powerfully when you're like, oh, this is something that's good and necessary, as opposed to I'm gonna do evil. That's very transparent as an
Yeah.
actor. So it's interesting that people are picking up this negativity, and the character on this show, I haven't done anything negative to me. I don't know what's the problem. I'm trying to protect the city. People, oh man, you're so diabolical. What? I didn't do nothing. So yeah,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
very
I think some people have that stigmatism, or what, I don't know if that's the word, but where maybe just they just ultimately think that district attorneys and politicians and police force are just dirty, so they maybe that's just what the viewpoint they have in their mind. But I would also say that oftentimes the villain, to your point, does feel like what they're doing is just and right. They never see themselves as the villain, even though the
no.
hero views them as the villain. You know,
And
so
usually the audience is meant to, but yeah, yeah.
right, right. So, um, yeah. So you didn't, reading the script and everything, you didn't see that as a part of the character, but obviously the audience, your friends and everybody are getting that from your character.
Yes. Yeah. And also very different for me is when I got the scripts for each episode and I looked them over, I was wanting to continue the story that Derek Haas, the showrunner, is telling, but I
Mhm.
also reveled in the idea of making something of each scene I had. Like not like, you know, pre-planning or what do you call it when you like making these predetermined hard choices. It was like, I here's my vision for what's happening in this scene, and
Mhm.
came prepared to do that, but also do whatever. And then I think almost every time when I actually physically got to set and started working with Eric Dane or Elliot Knight or Juliet Dean or any of the other actors I did scenes with, we changed it. Something came up different. Something was, and that's the beauty of it. It's like you are creating together.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I didn't really rehearse in the sense that this is how I'm gonna say this next. It was more like I want to know the words, but I want to be able to feel what's happening in this moment between me and the other actor. You know,
Right. And
uh,
that's what makes it more real and more authentic. You guys are in sync, and it for the viewer, for the audience, it comes across that much more authentic as well. Instead of
yeah,
just reading the lines and then not really feeling the emotion or the feeling or the intensity, whatever the case may be, of how you guys are delivering it. You know. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
important. And I've talked to several other people where they say you got to stick to the lines to the T. You can't improvise whatsoever. Do it the way the director wants you to do it, and that's that. So it's good to be on something like a show to where it actually kind of gives you a little bit of that flexibility and that freedom.
Yes. I think there are times when the sticking to the script is important. I think by and large, you probably already know this and have talked about this with our guest, is certain comedies, certain types of comedy, it's written with a certain rhythm and timing and word cadence, all that stuff. And you need to stick to the script or the joke doesn't work. A comedy has these these dimensions that they know very well, and you can't just mess with their writing. Like, oh, I don't want to. It's like, no, that's how it's written. In certain comments, you've got to say it that way, or they're going to stop you. With
Right.
dramas like this, it is you're making sure that you're telling a story. You can go off a little bit. If you're the bigger stars, like I think Jensen Ackles did a lot of improv, which is fun and it's natural, and
Mhm.
it's the character. So that's of course that's going to still make it through, and that's not going to be a problem. But
Mhm.
you don't want to go in, not knowing the lines at all and just kind of meandering through stuff and say, hey, wait, you're wasting people's time. So,
Right.
uh, yeah, there's schools of thought on that. I don't, certain people are like, oh, you got to know the lines to the T. It's like, yeah, you want to know them to the T,
Mhm.
but the best
Right.
actors will know that even if you know them to the T, you know you want to have the skill and flexibility to add yourself, divert, go with what's happening in the moment. There's multiple times when I was working and I was basically responding to another actor, but they might have said a different line than what was written. And had I did my written response, it wouldn't have made sense. But because I'm listening as an actor, I'm like, oh, and I did my response in relation to what they said to me, and that's a real conversation.
Right.
And so that's always going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what was it like working with the showrunner Derek Haas, and the rest of the cast? What was that experience like for Countdown?
Well, Derek Haas is a Midwest guy. He grew up in the Midwest like me, I think from Chicago. And so he's, of course, worked with Dick Wolf on the One Chicago universe on a lot of those stories. And so he came to this LA story. And, uh, and you can see it now if you watch the show. It's kind of a love letter to Los Angeles. They're
Mhm.
really just glamorizing, not say glamorizing it, that's the wrong word, they're displaying the beauty that is Los Angeles, whether
Right.
it's in the hood or it's in the hills. That
Right.
this is this sprawling city, and they all identify city names and certain takes.
Mhm.
So I love that about it. Working with him was collaborative and gentle, and I have a feeling that he was very comfortable with me because I was prepared. And so we get on set, we do a first rehearsal, and he said, "That's great." Or he might say, "Oh, maybe try this one little thing here, but otherwise, do what you're doing." And that's trust. And so we would joke. We got time to mess around and joke with each other,
Right.
because he was comfortable and I was comfortable with him. That I
Uh-huh.
could come in with my idea of what was going on, and he'd let me play it out. And if he pointed out something that didn't make sense, then I was, "Oh yeah, you're right. That doesn't. I get it." And we just
Mhm.
worked well that way. That's the kind of relationship you want with an
Right.
executive producer. Um, but also the confidence that you can try things. You can go in there
Mhm.
with an idea on your own.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, and certainly me as a new actor, I would have never thought I could go in and start making decisions. Okay, I'm going to do this here. I'm going to set this in. This I like this here. I would have gone in like, oh, okay, sir, where do you want me to sit? What can I,
Right.
that's a new actor, and that's what I was. A lot of people are, but
Right.
you want to get to the point where you have an idea, and when you see the set, your mind can start working of how you see this playing out and start implementing this yourself, making your own choices first, because
Mhm.
sometimes they don't know. They haven't worked it out.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
counting on you to figure it out for them, and they will be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I like the idea."
They want to be able to see it. They want to see what you bring to the table,
Yes,
and then lock in whatever shots that they grab from that sequence. But yeah, yeah, I can imagine that, especially when you visualize it in your head, but then when you finally see it and you finally see how it all plays out, usually it's for the first time, or
yes,
you lock in on what you maybe thought in your mind, and you see it play out the way you thought it in your mind. You're like, that's the take, you know.
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's amazing. You've done this too. You've written stuff or seen directors create stuff. And for this
mhm,
show, there's this, the last scene, the last episode, I was in my office, and they created this office for me for Grayson Volwell, which was it
yeah,
was like a big moment for me. It was like, man, y'all created this entire set just from. They took pictures of me and they like cropped in me with like, Obama as I'm breaking ground on these big projects in the city, and that
yeah,
was wonderful. And to think they made all that with some sense and scale of how cameras need to fit places, but it's
right,
like they made it and just had to trust that we would work within the what they created. I had no, all thing I knew was what they were doing, but I didn't have the decisions of where to put stuff. They created this office based on Derek's vision of it, and
right,
had I not known what I was doing, who knows? It would have been a down moment for the production if I came in and had no clue what to do. But I knew
yeah,
that when I walked in, I knew I'd be in my office. So I had some ideas about how I felt about my office as a DA. And so when I saw
mm,
the stuff they had, I'm like, oh yeah, this fits into this. This is right. And I basically attached these things that I felt about having an office to what they had. And that allowed me to sort of be comfortable in what was my office as DA Volwell. So
mm,
there, I think this scene might convey some of the ease of how I move around in that office is because I've claimed this office. It's
right,
mine. I've had it for years now, and
right,
that's being able to come in and really assess what the crew has created for you, and what the director and producer created for you, and so that's another proud thing to be able to do.
yeah. No, that's really dope, man. If you could, in a nutshell, just give the audience a brief rundown of what Countdown is about.
Sure, I'm sorry. Yeah, Countdown is a
It's
high
all good.
action. Yeah, it's a high intensity uh, crime thriller. People call it a high instant procedural,
Hmm.
but it is a crime thriller. It is a show that is about an FBI special uh, chief officer that forms a task force, a secret task force of
Hmm.
local and federal agents that have specialties from in different areas to achieve the task of finding out uh, whether or not there is this massive threat to Los Angeles.
Hmm.
And they find out there is a threat, and so now it's sort of a how much time do we have to solve this? Thus the title Countdown. So yeah, it's been compared to like 24 and some other shows that are like this high intensity. We got to solve this problem before the world ends kind of thing. Um, but it stars Jensen Ackles as the main star, and Eric Dane is the FBI chief that assembles a task force together. Jensen Ackles is one of the task force members. Um, there's Elliot Knight, Yuli Latukafu, who was in Young Rock, Violet Bean, and
Hmm.
Jessica Camacho, who's fabulous in this.
Right.
She's been in a few other things as well. So they're the main team, and then I come in as the guy in town who's like, "Huh, what you got going on over here? I need to be part of this because I'm in
Right.
everything in this town. Let me,"
Right.
and that's where the conflict starts.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Now I read online that you're in 3 episodes. Will we get a chance to see you in more than 3 episodes?
You absolutely will. How they online they don't. Some place you can go and see which episodes I'm in, but it's not generally widely know how to see it. But it might because I've been in three so far. That's
Right.
probably
Right.
what it is. So when you look after tomorrow, the new episode drops. It'll say, "Oh, he's in 4 episodes," so it'll just keep counting up. But yes, I'll be with this. Yeah, I'll be in this.
There you go.
Now it's funny
Quite
because
some time. For quite some time. We're gonna speak
yeah,
that into existence.
yeah, yeah, I'll be in this. I'll be there. So it's
Okay.
interesting because the first episode, many people noted, sort of, and this is a spoiler moment, so mute if you don't haven't seen the first episode. The first episode. It opens with Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us as the agent who is investigating a case, and he gets taken out. within like 5 minutes. And you thinking, what? That's a big name actor getting taken out. And so now everyone understands that you don't know who's safe. You might be listed as a star, a big name, but you might not make it a half an episode, you know?
But
So
I like
I, I,
shows.
I
Honestly, I
can't,
like shows like that.
yeah,
I like shows like that because it keeps it the intensity level just stays at a certain peak or a certain height to where you're always, you're kind of always waiting for the next moment to happen, and you're all along you're also hoping for like your favorite characters not to be killed off. So it makes for great TV to watch.
yeah, I think it's true. I mean, you've seen these shows in the old days when they would do these procedurals where it'd be a murder case and they'd question four people, and one of the people's a bartender. And the actor that plays the bartender is like an Oscar winner. You're like, I'm sure that dude is probably the killer.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's not like that here. It's like you don't know it all.
Which is good. I like that. I like that a lot. And even kudo to the writers and to the actors who decide, or I can't say they decide, but do you know if you're going to be killed off? A lot of times you don't, so um it comes to a surprise for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting killed off. I taped the show and I don't even know if I'm getting killed off. It could happen. You don't even know.
Right, but for now we're hoping that you're a long-standing
Thank
a
you.
long-standing cook on the show. Yes, for
So it's
sure.
yeah, it's all up to Derek Haas. It's all up to Derek
All
Haas.
right, so Derek, if you're listening, don't kill Merrick off the show. Make him last long. Let's go. Let's do it. Come on. All right. So can you describe out of the three episodes, or maybe there's an episode we haven't seen yet, can you describe maybe a favorite scene of yours?
Ooh, they're all really, really good and fun. Um, I liked there was a scene in episode 3, and I'll correct myself. We the initial drop of the show was 3 episodes, and
Hmm.
then last week was episode 4. So I've been in 3 episodes, but I wasn't in the first episode. So people are clear on that.
Hmm.
There was a scene I did in episode 3 um, that was actually the first scene I shot with them. I'm in episode 2, but I didn't shoot that scene till several months later. Interesting enough, the scene I did in
Okay.
episode 2, my first one, and that was a scene where there's a point where I get really heated with Eric Dane and with
Okay.
Jonathan Togo, who was one of the main stars on CSI Miami, and they're wonderful guys. We hung out, we chilled, we were laughing and joking all the time. But
Yeah.
I walk in, I hadn't really met them, and okay, rehearsal's up, and I'm getting this heated thing with Eric Den, who you don't know me from Adam. I'm sure. I mean,
Right.
maybe he looked me up a little bit, but so that was one of those moments where it's like, hey, you got to bring it. You got to bring it anyway. So that was great because we created something that was different from the script in the sense
Hmm.
that it enhanced things, and they had new ideas, and then we had ideas, and then we created this moment with these 3 characters. We were like in a hallway that made it just a beautifully shot, and it felt great shooting this scene with these guys. So it's one of those things where you write on the page, but then you have the faith that you're hiring good people, good actors, good directors to craft what this
Yeah.
scene's going to end up being after you get on the set. You know?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. It is on my radar to watch for sure. And when I do get past the first 3 episodes and watch the rest, I will definitely let you know what I think. But I am excited to watch
Sure.
watch you in it and be able to say that I already say, hey, I know that guy. I know Merrick. But it's always good to see when you can um when you land new roles and be able to see your range, and see you develop
Yeah.
more and your character develop and you come into new characters. Even though I also feel like a lot of times you get chosen for not necessarily similar characters, but a lot of these strong, general, leadership roles. I feel like you get a lot of those, and you also you have the look and the feel of somebody who would be in that position, and you have that voice, and that strong character voice, in my opinion.
Thank you. That's big. I don't, I appreciate that very much. People have told me that before. I'm like, I don't. I'm just this dude from Detroit. Sound way too much like my father for my liking. But um, yeah. And again, I think we talked about this before. Maybe my roles. A lot of them are these authority figures. They're suits.
Right.
They're the cop. They're the detective. They're the attorney.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's just my dad and my mother, both strong-willed people, both dignified, not at all snobby, not sedity, not bougie at all, but they were strong-willed people growing up in Detroit. They witnessed, the riots and the late 50s and 60s themselves, and
Wow.
so they had that coming in, knowing that they had to make something of themselves with their lives. They grew up in the projects, and they instilled in me that I was, say I am somebody. They instilled that in me, that I was somebody, that I could do what I want to if I really put my all into it.
Mm,
And so I think that kind of comes across. When I, as a person, so when you see me, like I could have been a politician, I could have been a detective,
yeah.
because those types of people are people that have asserted themselves as having authority in things,
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but I credit my parents.
No, but that's
Yeah.
good. It's a good character trait to have, because a lot of those shows need those types of characters, and this gives you
Yeah.
that opportunity to be able to be placed in those. And I know a lot of actors like to have that range where they can, they kind of get the pick of the litter of what it is that they want to do. But it's also good to uh, when there's actors who they're the go-to actor for these particular types of roles, and you kind of build a legacy that way as well, where what people remember you as. And
Mhm.
I think that's important to have too. Some people just don't want to be boxed in, but sometimes that box could be a good box, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. That's an issue. I think mostly with newer actors, they come in, all this talent and this eagerness. They're like, oh, I want to be able to do everything, man. I don't want to pay a cop too many times. I don't want to be known as the cop. Like, no one knows who you are at all, right? My thing is, hey, I'm happy to be the authority of the suit, the guy
Mhm.
that's the go-to for that. Until I reach that point of establish myself as the guy in this big project or this big thing, perhaps Countdown, perhaps something else, where I'm like
Right.
that dude who's the established authority guy, and making my mark, make my name as the person that can do that extremely well. Then saying, hey, I want to be the homeless dad that hadn't seen his kid in 20 years. I want to be, the the vicious mobster that's I want to try different things, but I'm not going to kid myself and think that I have to try those things or else I'm not fulfilled. There's
Right.
lots of things I can do in this authority figure range that I have right now. A lot of
Hmm.
stuff I can do. I have a lot of fun with a lot of artistic value for me, growing as a person, spiritually, artistic, all that stuff is there. So I'm happy to explore all that and have that for as long as I feel like I want to do it, and not think that, oh, that people are only going to hire me for that role. I don't think that's a worry that anyone should have.
Right.
You might be really good at something. Good, be good
Hmm.
at that. Be known for that
Hmm.
first before you complain about, oh, I'm only getting this role that I'm doing. It's like, well, one thing is you be happy that you're the go-to person for this role that you're working for. Two, make something different of it then. If
Right.
you're a cop, you played detectives the last three times, this third time, make them a little different. Make the choice. Say, you know what, I played this guy, but I'm going to do something different with him. And you
Hmm.
can, hash it out with the director, writer, whatever. But you have these choices that you can do to make yourself still evolve within that range. And I
Hmm.
don't think that actors should just get too, bent out of shape about this idea of typecasting. Um,
Right.
Type to me when you say you're typecast means that you worked on something really big and people see you as that. And now it's up to you to figure out, where else you want to go with it. But that's just me.
No,
That's just-
that's that's a really good perspective to have, and it's also good advice for actors as well. Um, and I like what you said as far as if you get casted as the police officer three times in a row, then maybe on the third time, do something different with him to kind of showcase what else you can do, or a little bit of your range, so that way when people view you, then they can also view you in a different light, and see
Right.
you as other characters. I think that's smart. I think that that is a great way of doing it, but it also still maintain your acting career. You're adding more credits to your name,
Hmm.
and you're not necessarily too concerned about the typecast, so to speak. But I feel like sometimes if you keep getting chosen for those roles, as long as it's not, anything derogatory or racial or anything like that, then you're it's a good thing that they're choosing you for these roles. I believe, they're picking you
Yeah.
for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you think about it in a broader sense, so you probably know about how this works too. If you're successful in this type of role, you say,
Mhm.
for years, and you've been working at this for lots of things, big projects, whatever, the byproduct is a lot of money. With a lot of money is a lot of resources available to you, which means that if you want to do something different, you can make it.
Right.
You got friends you've put together. Say, listen, I want to make it this. By that point, if you're typecast as the police chief on everything, go out, make you a good movie that's with you wanting to do something else. You ain't got to be the main character. You can be a supporting
Right.
character, but you want to do something else and make something good of it. If you want to do and for yourself, I know
Right.
people want to do it to get to for mobility, but you can do it for yourself. Like, hey, I want to just do something artistically for me that's different. So
Right.
you're never really cut off from doing what you want to do. If you want to
Right.
be famous for something, that's a whole other topic. I'm not famous, so I can't really speak too much on it. But
Yeah.
I think that you should really hone in on being your successful self as what you're good at, and then branching out into other things.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think that with this show, and the more opportunities that come your way, your face is definitely going to be more and more recognizable. I know you said you don't consider yourself as famous, but you're definitely. I know I can recognize you. I'm sure you're getting some of that
I,
recognition and recognizability, if that's a word. Um, but
I
it's
have
coming.
sensed that people looked at me or said in so many words, I recognize you from stuff. I've recognized you from something. Like
Right.
I've seen you on TV on something. I've gotten that. I've gotten that, which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
Okay.
that. It's a lot better than when I first started out acting. People say people tell you you look like Denzel. I was like, yes, I get that. I get that. I get that. Thank you.
And that's a good
Um,
compliment to have, though.
hey, looking like Denzel is not a bad thing,
Right.
But yeah, yeah. I like to where now I'm at the point where people are like, hey, I've seen you on something, and that's fine. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you also have a role as Frederick on House of Pain. You
Yes.
were on an episode of House of Pain. You might have been on
Yes.
multiple, but you played Frederick. Can you give us a little insight as to who Frederick is on House of Pain?
Frederick is the father of Laura, who is the fiance. And when I first got this job playing Frederick as and Laura's father, and it was Calvin's fiance, Calvin Payne. Um, it was fun. It's myself and another beautiful, wonderful actress, Kim Brockington, is Laura's mom,
Hmm.
Elaine, and we had a fun time on the first time we worked together as this couple having dinner with them. And I've come to find out since then that Laura, there's like this giant divided camps on Laura. Like some people love Laura, some people hate Laura. And I'm like, oh man. And Laura's, played by Quinn Walters, who's an amazing, wonderful actress that I met when I first shot. And so I'm back again as Frederick, Laura's father, trying to look out for my daughter. I'm looking out for my daughter. Whatever you see happening with Frederick, just know
Yeah.
that I'm looking out for my daughter, and I know how this works. I have kids, and um, fathers, their daughters, that's a special, most of the time special person forever.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
you see a
For
guy that you
sure.
don't think is doing it right, you're gonna say something. You're gonna say something. So
Right.
that's all I'm gonna say about Frederick.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'm hopefully we get a chance to see Frederick, a little more on House of Pain. Who knows? Um,
You will.
and
You will.
okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. So look at you. You're busy and booked, man. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The great thing about that show, House of Pain, is they write and shoot their shows way in advance. So I shot this latest season of the show um, over a year ago. It's over a year ago. And usually
wow.
shows like this, they're like a 6 month something, but this is like over a year ago. They want to have this stuff in the bank for whatever reason. That's how Tyler Perry's doing it. Good on him.
Yeah.
It's worked for him. That's fine. So yeah, we'll see. But I always enjoy working that show and working at Atlanta. Tyler Perry Studios is an amazing experience. I
Hmm.
think if you are an aspiring actor at all, particularly if you're a black actor, visiting the Tyler Perry Studios is something that you should do. Um,
Absolutely. I've never
because
been, but I've heard many a stories from actors that I've interviewed,
hmm
and just in the way that Tyler Perry shoots,
hmm
how quick and how fast and efficient he is. He makes decisions like that and doesn't think twice about it, that type of thing. And I'm rather amazed by how he's able to accomplish so much in so little time with minimal. I wouldn't say minimal because obviously he's got a vast studio with all types of things in place, but um, he's able to create all of this whole ecosystem, all of these shows. A lot of it's from the mind of Tyler Perry. A lot of these films, like he'll go away on a retreat for a week and come back with three new shows or three, whatever the case may be, and that's just amazing how fast he's able to do all of this.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
find that a little fascinating. Yeah.
yeah. And also another factor of this too is just a visit. So here's what I kind of analogize it to. The photo, the famous photo of Barack Obama. He's leaning forward. His little kid's reaching up to touch his hair. You know that how that brings that feeling
Yeah.
up in you when you see that photo. It's
Yeah.
like that for this studio, his studio lot. Because me being on the lots of Paramount and Warner Brothers and even Sony Studios, and seeing and CBS Studios, seeing how those studios are set up, seeing who things are named after, and there
Hmm.
no qualms about that. You're an L.A. Los
Right.
Angeles producer, actor, whatever, and you're the Ed Asner studio lot or the Fred the Steve McQueen lot, and all these things out. So when you go to Tyler Perry
Right.
Studios and you see the Harry Belafonte lot, the Sidney Poitier
Yeah.
lot, the Cicely Tyson
Yeah.
lot, these are the kind of things that come up. And this is why I'm like, you need to go see something different that will affect you
Yeah.
differently and see how impactful that can be for you. Any actor, but especially black actors, see the
Hmm.
difference in how that's impacting you versus how visiting the studio and seeing what he's created. Um, I think it should be an impactful thing and people should do to see the differences. Um,
I Yeah, I absolutely agree. If I ever get a chance to go, I'm going. I'm on the first thing smoking, you know.
right.
And yeah, I think that what he's doing, that he's cementing legacies for people that have had long-standing careers, and maybe they didn't get their just due during their career, but towards the tail end of their career, he finds a way to help cement their legacy. Like you said, by providing names of the different lots. As far as how he does with paying his actors. Um, Things of that nature where other studios might not necessarily do that.
Or
So
give
I
them a chance to do that. Correct. Yeah, the staff, the crew, there are opportunities for them that they would not. have had because it's just an overcrowded market, and you've got so much nepotism here in LA that they
Yeah.
would not have the chance to even get in there. So that's something else to appreciate, you know.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Now you also hosted the NATAS. I don't know if it's NATAS or NATAS Pacific Southwest Emmys. I'm not familiar, so if you could please explain what that is.
Sure. NATAS is the National Association of Television Arts and Sciences.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, there's what I'm in also, which is the TVA, the Television Academy, or
Uh-huh.
could be the American Television Academy of Arts and Sciences. Um, and then there's NATAS. Now,
Okay.
the American Television Arts Academy, that is really Los Angeles. That
Uh-huh.
is a Los Angeles thing where you're in Los Angeles, you can be a part of this television academy, which I'm in. The NATAS is typically a regional thing across America. So the NATAS that I was hosting was the Southwest region. That includes San Diego, um, New Mexico, and Las Vegas, and
Oh.
then just north of Los Angeles. It has a carve out for Los Angeles not being a part of it for specific
Oh, wow.
reasons. So
Okay.
yeah, so that was nice. So I got invited to be a host or the main host for that awards ceremony, and that was really nice.
Yeah.
I lived in San Diego for a number of years before I moved to Los Angeles. So when I
Uh-huh.
first moved to California from Detroit, I lived in San Diego, and
Okay.
then eventually moved to Los Angeles from there. So I have met people in San Diego that were filmmakers and producers and actors, and they kind of try to claim me. They don't get my Detroit friends don't get too much of a beef about it. They don't bring it up, but saying it certainly wants to claim me as theirs as
Right.
well as Detroit, because technically I started acting. Well, even then it's awesome. I'm not even going to get into it, but they invited me because they knew me as having some origins as far as my work in San Diego before moving to Los Angeles, and that it was more a lot of journalism, a lot of
Okay.
journalism awards, some
Uh-huh.
certainly independent projects,
Uh-huh.
mainly televised projects. Journalism, but also some televised, some documentaries,
Right.
and beautiful work, and
Wow.
yeah, and these are and they give out Emmys. They have actual Emmys that are the same Emmys that they get at the Emmy Awards we see on national TV. They have
That's
them in the local things as well.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because these are things that you otherwise would not know from the outside looking in. You obviously we watch the Emmys on TV, and we think that
Mhm.
the that's it. That's the main show. Like we don't really know that there's all of these other aspects to it. However they divide it up, but it still matters to the people who are a part of the industry and
Yeah.
work hard throughout the year to earn an Emmy
Yeah.
and win an Emmy, so it is important, and a lot more people should know about it, no matter what region you're in. Um, and
Right.
so I wanted to ask because I didn't have any background
Yeah.
knowledge.
People should know about this because, like you said, we see the Emmys, what they call the Emmys, televised every year, and they're the big shows and the big actors. But even in LA, for the TV Academy that I'm in, there's also the Creative Arts Emmys, which you also get an Emmy, but it's like they're the more technical stuff or more of the some of the supporting roles, not necessarily the bigger roles.
Right.
And that's not televised, but it's a ceremony. It's a whole gala event, and you get an Emmy as well if you win. The same thing is there. So I encourage people to. There's qualifications to get in. If you've done a certain amount of work within a certain time, then you're
Uh-huh.
eligible to become a member of the academy, either the local one, or the
Hmm.
TV academy that's based in Los Angeles. The criteria is it's changed recently, but you want to go to the website for Television Academy and look up membership, and then they
Hmm.
have a criteria, and then you can submit. There's levels you can submit to. If you've only done a couple things, not quite to the level that you need to be a full member, you could be an associate member, and that gives you lots of benefits as well, as far as access to events and mixers and certain things that you can do to meet other people in the industry. So yeah, I think that's another way for people that are in television to kind of get themselves out there, get into the industry, get to meet some more people, and grow their career.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. It's good to know, and I'm glad that you were able to break that down as well because I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know that and don't know that they can, become members of these committees and platforms and boards and whatnot, and also have the chance to even win an Emmy. So it's I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but it is important to have out there for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right, and it means something. It carries weight in the industry. Even if
right.
you won it in San Diego, if you come to LA and you said you won 8 Emmys, that's going to mean something. That means you beat out
Absolutely.
people and you did some amazing work. So
Yeah, not everybody gets them.
no, no.
Yeah. Now, lastly, I did do a little digging. I saw that within
Uh
the past year or so, you were also a part of a play, High Maintenance. Can you talk a little bit about your role in that play?
Yeah, I did a play. It's at the Road Theater Company. This was also about a year ago. It's a lot of things happened last year. Interestingly enough,
Mhm.
I did this play, and it was written by Peter Ritt and directed by um, I'm terrible forgetting his name, a wonderful director, and it's a story about an aging actress that decides to come back and do a theater play to try to restore her career because she had a flame out moment on set and for their personal life and it blew up, and so she was going to theater to try to reestablish herself with this amazing play. And the gimmick of this play is that her co-star is an actual robot that was taught to act.
Okay.
So you get into this idea of that realm of AI, and
Right.
people they have people saying, "Oh, stage is always going to be there for actors no matter what," and so we go into a little bit of that. But it's an interesting play about what it is to be human and
Hmm.
humanity and the uncertainties of technology and
Hmm.
just the dynamics and fun and the fun part of doing a play. There's lots of elements about being in a play that's hilarious and fun and the characters that were in that play. So it's we closed last year, but that was getting up on stage doing theater is important for actors because it is
Yeah.
like Denzel Washington talks about this. Many actors talk about what's how important is it to be on stage, and it is because it's like that gut check, that nerve
Right.
check.
Hmm.
You think you're good, really? Okay, get up and do
We're
it in front of these people that you
gonna
don't
see.
know. Right, right. There's no cuts. There's no take two. There's no calling. No, you got to go through it,
Yeah.
and that is a skill strengthening tool and an amazing experience for you as an actor because you are, I would say, the purest form is the stage work.
Hmm.
You're getting that immediate feedback from an audience, that immediate instinct from yourself happening right then and there that you cannot just change. You've got to
Right.
listen. You've got to go with it. You've got to adapt in certain cases and
Hmm.
deal with the mistakes that can happen in a live performance. And I think that's something that every actor should do and continue to do. I plan to do stage work again, certainly when I get the chance. So
Yeah.
I'll always keep that as something as for you to do as an actor.
Yeah, absolutely. Time and time again, actors have sung the praises of doing theater work and honing your craft and sharpening your skill, and just the simple fact of there's no take two, take three, take four. It's you have to be in the moment at all times, and you you have to know all of your lines. You can't freeze. There's no cut, or can we take a 2 minute break?
Yeah.
None of that.
It is.
So
It is like an antithesis to the culture that we have with this influencer, instant,
yes.
look at me culture that we're dealing with now. Whereas
Hmm.
even with TV shows or with these videos that you make, instantly you got it up. You can show people, look at me, look at me.
Yes.
Whereas with theater, there's no cameras in there. You can't bring a camera to record your show. This is it. This is you and the audience and your castmates, and that is it. And what you get from that is something that you can only take with you personally. You can't. The only way you can relive it is through your own heart and memory.
Right.
And that is something that's incredible and different about being on stage that you're not going to see on camera, on TV shows, or even movies. Is because
Mhm.
it's like you put in all this work for months sometimes, and then you do a show that's going to go a month, maybe two, and then that's it, and then you're
Yeah.
done. You don't see it again. Don't go back. You know the cast. There might be stills of it taken for you to remember, but it's not something for you to simply watch over again like other projects. And that's why it's a test for actors to see how committed you are. Yes, you could
Right.
go on a TV show and memorize lines for a day or two, and then go and film, and they'll give you multiple takes to fix the mess ups you did, and then you move on. But
Mhm.
for you, how committed are you to go and spend weeks to months studying and preparing for something to perform to a live audience that you do each night, live
Yeah.
without stopping? That's again the show of your commitment to what you really are as an actor.
Yeah. It's a true test. It showcases your passion, all of that. It's amazing for sure. And
And it
it's
doesn't pay well. I mean, unless you're on a national tour, unless you're doing some Hamiltons, it is not a great paying thing. As opposed to, you can make 30 grand on a TV show for one episode. This, you know, so keep that
yeah,
in
but
mind.
that helps keep you grounded at the same time. So
Yes,
that's a good
that's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Merrick. Well, I always ask, everybody at the tail end, what's next for them? So what's next for you?
Ooh, what's next for me? I got something big. Something
Do you?
big.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey,
I'll be
let's
honest. All right, so here's the deal. There is something that I am a part of. I've already
okay.
shot it, and I'm excited to tell you about it once it's
Okay.
ready to be announced. But we're
Okay.
going. It has to go through an approval process. We shot
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah.
I'll see.
We'll
I'll
do it
see
all off camera.
okay, but I will definitely come back to you, sir. We will go through it. But I'm proud and excited to talk about it, and I
Yeah.
can't wait. So once this happens, I'll certainly hit you up, and we'll get
Oh,
this going. Get this going.
oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited for
Yeah,
you,
right.
man. Yeah. Right. And that's what I'm talking about is it's just amazing to see the growth of people that I've encountered just throughout this and to be able to watch them grow, watch you grow and see how you're elevating in the business and you're not stagnant, you're not waiting, and opportunities are coming towards you. You're beginning to flourish. And the more I report on these stories or do these press releases, and the more I start to see names pop up, that
Hmm.
it's a happy feeling, man. It's a warm feeling to see when it's somebody that I actually know. Like, okay, they did it. They did it. Let's go.
Yes.
That's an amazing thing for me. And I get excited to hear those. To hear and to see when people actually get those accomplishments and make it happen for themselves. So that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, other than that, man, I like to give my guests the final word, whether that be a piece of advice, words of encouragement, or a quote that you like to live by. You can say one of the three, or you can say all three. It's up to you.
Oh, I don't know. I think uh, you know, be happy for today.
Hmm.
I'll say that. Be happy for today. A lot of people don't have it. I went through a moment of that myself when it's like this moment of gratitude.
Hmm.
Not for the financial or the accolade stuff, just that you got a comfortable bed to lay in, that you're in an enclosed space,
Right.
that you have people that love you, that care about you, that want to, and that you have people that you love, because these are the real roots of living a full life for me. And as much
Hmm.
stuff gets layered on there, you want to get the clothes, you want to get the cars, you want to get the jewelry, whatever, all that stuff. When it comes down to it, it's going to matter. You appreciating the simplest things that you have, because there's people around this world that are just begging to have that. And
Hmm.
so just, be grateful for today. And, and always I say, keep pushing for what you really want in life. Keep pushing.
Right.
because many times that those moments you're ready to give up, it's when it's right around the corner. So
Mm, mm.
just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're absolutely right, man. Keep pushing, be appreciative of the day, live the day to the fullest, all that good stuff, Um,
Yeah.
and I love that. I love to hear those types of words of encouragement and advice, because we all need to hear it, and we all go through things. We all live complex lives. We have different things going on outside of our careers and whatnot. And so it's always good to hear something that is more on a human level rather than just career advice or whatever, because we all need to hear that, and it doesn't matter what field you're in. It's important to
Mhm.
spread that good word. So I truly
Absolutely.
appreciate
Again, I'm never saying don't push hard for what's right.
it. Hmm.
Push hard for what's right. Fight for the people that need fighting for.
Yeah.
Um, but also realize that you want to be grateful for what you have. That's all.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Merrick, thank you so much for joining again. It's great to have you on, and we're definitely going to have you on for what this next phase of
Alright.
Merrick McCartha is going to be. I'm excited to hear all about it. I'm excited to see you level up in your career, and I'm happy for you, proud of you, man. And just keep pushing, like you said. Great things are going to keep coming your way. Absolutely. So, with that
Thank
being
you, and you
said,
too.
thank
Yeah,
you. I
you
appreciate
as well.
that.
Thanks for having me. I'm always impressed with your success and people I see you have on your show. It's encouraging for me, so thank you for doing
Yeah.
this. You got it, man. You're certainly on the right path for sure.
Thank you so much, man. Well, without further ado, Merrick McCartha, everybody.